This is what the world would look like if all lenses were built with this much quality at this price point. But at what cost? So I waited a few months after I got the lens to really put it through its paces so I can give you the most comprehensive review from someone that's actually used the lens in the real world. But let's firstly focus on the most important thing, autofocus. The first thing that worries me about third-party lenses is their autofocus performance. For me, it's quite important because I usually work in very small teams all by myself, so I can't really be focusing on focusing. So let's put this to the test.
Hi, I'm Camilo, and I'm addicted to saying shit.
So when I got the lens, I did a sustained focusing test, which basically means I interviewed myself. This is so dumb.
I consider it a way of life.
Okay, so I just finished watching that video, and apart from the very cringy performance,
The way of sheesh. Yeah.
it stayed focused the whole time. It didn't hunt or anything, and I was shooting at 1.8. Moving focus. I always thought that when YouTubers did this autofocusing test, it was a little bit unrelatable to the stuff that we do. First day that I got the lens, I went out with my girlfriend and this cat.
Oh my god. Hey, can you leave me alone so I can do this?
And tested the autofocus performance whilst a subject was moving. And I mostly looked out for how it would perform when the subject wasn't facing the camera, so I wasn't relying on face tracking. And as you can see, it did a very good job at detecting contrast, and I didn't see any hunting, and I didn't feel like there was an issue between the camera and the lens. So I used this lens on a shoot for this clothing brand, and I found that the lens held focus correctly, I'd say about 80% of the time. The only times when it didn't was when I would be pulling back very quickly from the subject. Bear in mind, I was shooting at 1.8, which is a very shallow depth of field. And I also used the 35mm 1.8 from Sony on the shoot, and I also experienced the same result. Most lenses struggle to hold focus if you just go back really quickly. But looking at these shots, for the majority of the parts, it holds on really well. Performance is pretty much on par with the Sony. I'm not sure about the Sony G Master 24mm. Don't know about that one. So autofocus is pretty good. However, there is just one thing to note: focusing distance. Imagine you set up a great shot with the perfect composition, but the lens won't focus because it's too close. The Viltrox 24mm 1.8 has a minimum focusing distance of 0.3 meters, meaning that if I get this close, I'm just not in focus. And that's about like my hand and a bit away. That is annoying. Okay, so to put it into perspective, the top is the 24mm and the bottom is the Tamron 17-28 at 24mm. And you can see the difference in distance as to how close you can get to subject before they reach their minimum focusing distance. And you can see a difference in terms of the composition and the framing. Really and truly though, it's only annoying when I'm shooting product commercials and I want to use this lens because the 24mm focal range is a really good focal range. To be able to get close to something with a little bit of a wide angle is great. Now, I know that I focused a lot on autofocusing, but I know some of you filmmakers love manual focusing. And I also know that a lot of you hate focus by wire systems such as these ones. However, after doing some quick tests, I can confirm that, oops, this is manual focus still. This focus by wire system is actually pretty decent. I was able to get back to the same position that I started with every single time, which just goes to show that it's actually pretty good. If you're going to rig this out with a focus system like a Nucleus Nano, you're gonna be in good hands.
Yo! Did you get another prime lens? Yeah. Why would you get one focal length when we have a zoom lens? One word: sharpness.
And if you want to know how sharp the photos are, you can just have a look at these photos that I took on the recent POV photography video that I posted. In fact, you know what? Let's actually look at the photos. So here's a photo of my cousin that I've already edited with my Lightroom preset, so you can find link below. If you're just zooming straight, look at that. Look at all that detail. This was shot at 1.8, and I use a softening filter. And look at his eyebrows. Look how much detail there is there. Wow. And even here, just look at that. Look at all that detail. That's what you get with prime lenses. And what? Oh, you stress about the vignette? Just get rid of it. It's gone now. It's not gonna hurt you anymore. Okay. Before you leave a bad comment, here is a more scientific review. So here on the left, we have the Viltrox at 2.8. On the right, we have the Tamron 17-28 at 2.8 as well. And you can see it's clearly not a crazy difference, but the Viltrox is much sharper. The 24mm 1.8. Who is this lens for? If you're a filmmaker, this is great for B-roll, as long as you don't get too close, and could be used for nice wide interview shot. When you're at 1.8, you're not going to see a lot of depth unless you get really close to a subject. However, if you're shooting in low light, 1.8 is very, very useful. I would just say that if you're doing product videos and you like to get very close, maybe it's not the one for you. Maybe consider something else. For photography, I had no issues with it. In fact, it's one of my new favorite lenses for photography. I have no idea how Viltrox managed to pack such a great lens for that price point. Like, literally check the link below, whatever store that you want. You can see how affordable this lens actually is for a prime lens. If you like this video, please leave it a like. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.